Let's go Dolphins! What I just discovered could change everything we thought we knew about the team's future. From a rejected bombshell trade proposal to calls for drastic leadership changes and a heated debate over Tua's risky on-field decisions, a crucial question hangs in the air among fans and even the front office. Are the Dolphins finally ready for a radical change? Something important is happening in Miami. I'm going to reveal everything, the behind-the-scenes drama, the defensive upheaval, and how one of the most controversial decisions of the season almost cost us everything. But there's more, a secret trade proposal involving Jaylen Waddle that had the potential to divide the fan base. And it gets even more surprising. Some people within the organization were actually considering the proposal. What does this tell us about the future? What does this say about the people making these decisions? Stick with me, because I'm going to reveal the real reason why the Dolphins may be about to part ways with Mike McDaniel, despite that big win over the Bills. But before I tell the whole story, make sure you've already clicked the like button. And if you're a fan who's lived through the disappointments, the rebuilds, and the broken promises, leave a comment right now saying, "Go Dolphins!" My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Now let's get to the truth they don't want you to know. The Miami Dolphins came out on top against the Buffalo Bills in a gritty, emotional victory that may just become a turning point for this team. It wasn't a perfect game, far from it, but it was one filled with moments that defined character, effort, and a little bit of that old-school Miami fight. But before we talk about the execution and the coaching, let's address the elephant in the room. The Buffalo Bills tried to trade for Jaylen Waddle. You heard that right. Buffalo was reportedly ready to offer a 2027 first-round pick and a 2026 third-rounder for Waddle, and Miami said no. And thank God they did. This isn't just about holding onto a talented receiver. This is about refusing to empower a division rival with a weapon that could burn us twice a year for the next decade. Trading Waddle, especially to the Bills, would have been a betrayal to every Dolphins fan. And the offer? A first in 2027? That's 4 drafts away. Do you honestly think Buffalo will be bad enough in the near future for that pick to mean anything? Greer not pulling the trigger doesn't mean he gets credit. That's the bare minimum. If it were up to most fans, he'd be clearing out his office already. But at least in this rare instance, someone in the building had some common sense. Now let's shift to what went down on the field. The Dolphins played a disciplined game. The defense showed up when it mattered most, and while Josh Allen still had his moments, he looked gassed out there. The Heat? Give me a break. Greg Rousseau tried to pull the "we're not used to this Heat" card after the game. He literally played at the University of Miami. If anyone should be able to handle South Florida weather, it's him. And it wasn't even that hot. It rained at halftime. The truth is Buffalo got punched in the mouth by a team that was more physical, more prepared, and simply wanted it more. The Dolphins defense, led by Anthony Weaver, deserves praise here. Weaver, who's taken plenty of heat this season, dialed up one of his best games. The game plan was sharp. Contain Allen, force him into tough throws, and don't let him escape the pocket. And when he did escape, the corners stuck to their men like glue. It was bend but don't break football executed at a high level. Fatu Milfana's interception? Huge! That kind of smart, opportunistic play is exactly what Miami needs if it wants to compete deep into the season. But now we've got to talk about Tua Tagovailoa and those 2 interceptions. Let's be honest, they were reckless. The first one, a deep shot early in the game that turned into an interception. Sure, you can write it off as it's basically a punt, but even that's lazy thinking. You're giving up a down. On 3rd and long, you have options. Crossers, screens, plays that give you a chance to actually convert. Just chucking it up and praying isn't a strategy, especially against a team like Buffalo. But I'll give that first one a pass. The second one, though, unforgivable. Miami's up 16-6. Buffalo is starting to get a little momentum. And what do? Same exact play, same exact outcome. And you threw it to Waddle, who, as talented as he is, was covered by 2 defenders, both taller than him. Waddle even fell down on that play. Why are you repeating a failed concept in a critical moment? You're gifting a team like Buffalo a chance to climb back into the game. That's not how you beat elite teams. That's how you give games away. And here's the kicker. Tua says post-game that it wasn't even a mindset shift. It was a predetermined plan. McDaniel told him to do it. That's even worse. If McDaniel is scripting these desperation shots into the game plan, he's learned nothing from the mistakes of the past. This is the same guy who kept throwing bubble screens even when they were blowing up in our faces. It's a stubbornness that puts the team at risk. The sad part is this game could have gone sideways if not for a holding penalty on the return of the second interception. The Bills were set up at Miami's 39. Instead, a block in the back pushed them back to their 12. That penalty might have saved the game, but relying on penalties to bail you out isn't a game plan. All right, let's pick up right where we left off. The conversation around Mike McDaniel's future isn't just noise, it's getting louder for a reason. This team has talent. This roster has enough foundational pieces that with the right leadership, it shouldn't be scraping for wins. And yet, here we are again, stuck in that same maybe next year loop because of the same core issues, game management mistakes, poor situational awareness, and a front office that doesn't hold people accountable. Let's talk about McDaniel's job security because there's a lot of talk that he saved his job with that win over Buffalo. I'm not buying it. One game doesn't erase 2 seasons of poor starts and repeated errors. Let's not forget, this is a team that started 2-6 again. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And it's not just about play calling. It's about a head coach failing to learn from previous mistakes and continuing to put his team in risky, unnecessary situations. The Dolphins don't need a brilliant offensive mind who struggles to manage the clock or takes unnecessary chances. They need a head coach, someone who can lead all 3 phases of the team. Right now, McDaniel feels more like a high-end coordinator playing pretend at head coach. And then there's Greer. Look, I'll say it again, he should have been out of the building already. How many failed drafts and botched contracts does it take before this organization wakes up? The only reason we're even entertaining future moves like getting a quarterback in the draft is because Greer hasn't been able to solidify the most important position in football. Tua's a likable guy, no doubt, but the ceiling? We're watching it. He's not pushing this team over the top. And if you're a GM candidate looking at this roster, you see a squad that could be dangerous with the right QB under center. Which brings us to the draft. Right now, Miami sits in the 7th overall slot. Teams ahead of them like the Raiders, Jets, Browns, and Saints are all potentially in the quarterback market. That means if Miami is serious about finding the guy, whether it's Mendoza or someone else, they're going to need to maneuver. And here's the thing, the Dolphins play both the Jets and the Saints before the season ends. Those matchups could have massive draft implications. Lose them both, you might sneak into the top 5. And from there, if the board falls the right way and Mendoza slides past the top 2, Miami could make a legitimate move to trade up to number 3. And no, I'm not talking about some ridiculous 2027 pick from Buffalo. I'm talking about packaging high-value assets to move up now, this year, and grab the guy who could transform this offense. Because let's be real, if you're sticking with Tua and hoping that he magically becomes elite in year 6, you're wasting the prime years of Waddle, Achane, Chop Robinson, and the other young core pieces. This franchise can't afford to play the waiting game anymore. Now let's talk about cap space because everyone keeps screaming that the Dolphins are in cap hell. But that narrative is overblown. A post-June 1 cut of Tyreek Hill saves over $11 million. Cutting or trading Bradley Chubb, making Austin Jackson a post-June 1 cut, that frees up even more. The truth is, the Dolphins can get under the cap pretty easily. This isn't the 2021 Saints situation. It just takes a front office that's willing to make bold decisions, not one clinging to aging contracts or trying to run it back with a core that's already shown its ceiling. And let's not ignore the players who are part of the future. Jack Jones, he's been a dog. Juju Brents, locked down his assignment. Devin Achane, explosive, versatile, everything you want in a modern running back. Waddle continues to show up, and even guys like Patrick Paul and Malik Washington have had moments that suggest with the right coaching, they could become real contributors. This isn't a total rebuild. This is a team that's a quarterback and a culture change away from being a threat. You just need the right GM to walk in and say, I'm doing this my way. And whoever that GM is, he needs autonomy, full control. No more handcuffing the front office by saying you have to keep McDaniel or you have to stick with Tua. That's how you end up right back in the same spot next year. Whoever takes the reins should get to decide what direction this team goes, no strings attached. If they want to clean house, let them. If they want to keep certain pieces, fine. But don't force a vision on someone who's supposed to rebuild your franchise. The reality is, beating Buffalo the way Miami did proves one thing above all else. The talent is there, but the structure,